Okay, so we are here at chapter 69, and low-key, earlier in the day, low-key, I kind of got excited because we're almost so close to, we're short of almost 30 chapters, nearly to chapter 100. And even though on the playlist it's like only like 20 something chapters, because I did the beginning daily life arc and only focus on the characters that were introduced, and probably some of them were double chapters, but nonetheless, like, we're that close to 100 chapters, and I'm pretty excited because a lot of stuff goes on after this arc. So going off from chapter 68, after the whole ordeal with MM and Bianchi and the power of love prevailed, by the end of the chapter, they were met with another assassin. And as I stated before, that assassin is by far still one of the most creepiest characters in the entirety of Katekyo Hitman Reborn, because this dude is just plain weird. Of course, also remember that he is part of the recruitment, the crew that Mukuro called in to handle with the 10th generation Bongolo group. Okay, so after the battles with Ken and MM, now we deal with this weird dude who's hanging out with a bunch of middle schooler, high schooler jailbreakers. I think that's the proper term, jailbreakers, right? Okay, so he's the next assassin that's up with them. And from 68, we remember that he has targets on both Kyoko and Haru. Remember, at the end of the day, Kyoko and Haru are just regular citizens. Yes, they know Suna, but they don't know that he's involved with the mafia, and unwillingly so. So by affiliation, they're involved with the mafia, even if they don't really know it, because of their association with Suna, right? So he's showing them that I have surveillance using these birds. Again, remember, I told you, pay attention to also these birds as well, because they're going to be associated with another character for the remaining of this series. They're no longer going to be associated with this character. Actually, you might end up forgetting that these birds were first introduced due to Birds. That is the assassin's name. He goes by the name of Birds because he uses birds as surveillance cameras to spy on his targets. And remember when I stated there were two kind of like zombie looking mummified characters. They too were in prison for how much years, and it's described that the reason why they look the way that they look, they had these strap-on masks on their face for all 10 years and it was never removed. So basically they are his henchmen, so they do the dirty deeds for him. So anything he does, even if he was to twitch, they go by that signal to go and kill whoever he is sent out to go and kill, right? So he's their boss and they're his henchmen. So he sent them by using the surveillance camera to kind of torture Suna and the crew, that if you don't follow the instructions that I give out, I will kill these two people. And it's kind of terrifying when you think about the whole ordeal, because it's like anybody can know who Suna hangs out with. Anybody that's willing to spy on him, know about his daily life, what he does in his daily life, or anything of that sort to take him out, means that anybody who is not part of the mafia, who doesn't know the dealings or anything, aka normal people like Haru and Kyoko, their lives will constantly be in danger because, again, like I said, they know Suna. They're associated with him. Okay, whether they're friends, family, lovers, it doesn't matter. So their lives are going to be constantly in danger because of Suna's presence in their lives. So he's like, yeah, I'm going to go kill them if you don't try to take out the boss. Okay, Suna's thinking he probably doesn't know, and he calls out his name, Tsunayoshi Sawada, take him out. So the first thing he did was, he's like, one of you will have to beat up Suna to a bloody pulp within 5 seconds, or I tell my henchmen to rip these two girls apart, like literally shred them up, tear them up, break limbs, whatever. right? Mind you, they're going about their business. Kyoko just left the hospital after visiting Ryohei. He's still in the hospital. And we have where Haru, she's just probably going home from after school studying while she's on her way home, not really paying attention to her surroundings. Guys, please pay attention to your surroundings. You never know. It doesn't even have to be assassins, but you have weird people outside. Don't be keeping music in your ears like that and, you know, completely disregarding what's around you and everything. Please don't do a Haru, okay? So they're all panicking and they're like, hey, you only got, Birds is like, hey, you only got 5 seconds. If I don't see blood on this boy, these girls are going to die. And so we have where like Yamamoto and Gokudera are panicking and everything. Gokudera obviously is the more hot-headed of the two, and he wants to engage and start being a bird. So he's like, you touch me and hurt me in any way, my 2 henchmen are going to hurt those 2 girls. So pick and choose your battles. Hurt me and they get hurt. Don't hurt me and they still get hurt. So it's almost like a lose-lose situation. So we have where Bianchi punches, you know, Suna in the face, causing him to bleed, even though he does say, oh, it doesn't really hurt that much. Okay, so they kind of pass his first test. Okay, and Bianchi tries to play off like, you know, originally I came to Japan to go kill you, but obviously over time and getting to know Suna more and hang out with him more along with Reborn and the others, she warms up and she does like Suna, so she doesn't really give it her all. Then he's like, all right. And what makes him creepy, by the way, is one of his tactics is getting people to be extremely frightened for what he's doing. So knowing it concerning aka close ones, loved ones, and knowing they're in danger, and whoever they're provoking, aggravating, can do nothing to protect or save them. He says it turns him on. Hence why I said this dude is the creepiest character. Like, I don't care what nobody says about Dr. Shamal or any other character. This dude gets turned. If he sees you panicking, if he sees you frightened, okay, he gets nosebleeds from that. That is by far worse than any perverted, weird character I've seen in anime and manga. Like, this dude, I'm just so glad that he never makes a reappearance ever again in this series, because this dude should have just been wiped out from existence. He should have never been introduced, but he was. So that's what he says, and you know, everybody's weirded out by that. Then he gets another task, this time 10 times worse than, you know, punching Suna up into a bloody pulp. My boy could be fine. He could go to the hospital and be patched up, get some bandages and everything. The next task he does, which actually is probably the scariest of them, and if Suna really went through with it, they probably wouldn't have been able to defeat Mukuro in this arc or anything. He's like, I want you to stab yourself hard enough that the hilt is all the way in, okay, if you want to save these 2 girls, and you have 10 seconds. And everybody's like, no, we can't do this. They like, are you serious? And he's like, hey, if you don't do it, I'm going to drop acid on these girls. He was going to burn them alive. He was going to burn their skins alive. He was going to send out his henchmen to burn them alive. And mind you, they are none the wiser. You're wondering, how come they don't notice? Again, remember, they're assassins, so they can probably hide their presence, camouflage their steps and how they sound and everything. So these guys are professionals, okay? So these girls, they don't know what's going on. They don't know that literally the henchmen are like right here, and this is them, like literally neck and neck, and they're about to lose their lives, okay? And Suna's like, man, what I'm gonna do, like they're about to die. They're going to have acid dropped on them, and then probably whatever he wants to do with their bodies, he can do whatever if I don't actually physically hurt myself. And mind you, all he did to tell Suna was to stab himself. But mind you, if Suna actually went through with it, the knife itself has poison on it. So right then and there, not only would Suna stab himself, if there was no poison, he could at least got stitched up and got better at the hospital. he would actually die because of the poison that's laced on the blade itself. You know, he was going to kill Suna right then and there, okay? And Suna was about to go through with it. He was really about to go kill himself because he didn't want nothing to happen to them. He didn't want nothing to happen to Kyoko and Haru. So he was fully about to go through with it until you saw one of the henchmen get hit in the head. And Dr. Shamal came and protected Kyoko. And then we had where 10-year versions of Ipin and Lambo came and protect Haru. Okay, they defeated both the henchmen, and the reason why is because Reborn kind of had like you know Reborn always knows what's going on, and sometimes he knows a little bit too much in advance. So he placed it in advancement that Dr. Shamal and Ipin and Lambo, who still left back at home while they go and try to defeat Mukuro and rescue Futa, he left it up to them to go protect them just in case, and also Mama, but she wasn't appearing in this chapter, just to protect them while they're doing their mission. Okay, so all three of them protected both Haru and Kyoko from dying. Okay, also, you know, because of them, Suna didn't have to fully go through with actually killing himself to protect them. And this is something that I think a lot of people forget, that like if Suna's put into a predicament where, you know, there are those he cherishes, he'd rather end his own life to protect those that he cares about than to allow them to die so he can live to see another day. Okay, so that's something to take in. And remember, this is at a time where Suna had no powers. Suna had no skill. By the end of the chapter, we have where Reborn kicks Suna and Suna punches Birds in the face, and Birds is down for the count. So another assassin on Mukuro's team is taken out. And I am glad, because like I said, anybody that has read Reborn, watched Reborn, we all kind of can say this dude was not likable one bit. I understand a lot of people didn't like MM, but MM is way more redeemable than this creep. This perverted creep. And you know, the creepy henchmen, zombie-like henchmen were taken out. So yeah, this chapter was like showing Suna's resolve. This was just showing the start of his resolve. Like, this is what it takes for Suna to be like, I'm going to protect my people, if it even means taking myself out of the equation. You know, he's not the one that has the big dreams or aspirations, but so long as the people he cares about is okay, then yeah, Suna will do by all means to protect those that he cares about. That's like literally what Suna is as a character. He'll do by any means, even if it means taking himself out of the equation, you know, hurting himself, so long as the people he cares about, loved ones, friends, family, all of those people in his circle are okay. They get to see tomorrow and the days after. So guys, do tell me in the comment section below on how you felt about chapter 69 of Katekyo Hitman Reborn. I believe, do tell me if this was either adapted into episodes 23, possibly into 24. Oh, and by the end of the chapter, I forgot, Futa came out and he's like, what family? Like, he was seeing the whole conversation, and at this point you can tell that Futa is being brainwashed by Mukuro, because obviously Futa loves Suna. He thinks of Suna as his big brother. If you go back to, I think it was chapter 36 that I reviewed of Futa's character, and he adores Suna, you know. And then for him to come out saying what family, that obviously tells you that Mukuro did something to Futa, okay, and that makes him shout out what he said by the end of the chapter. So Suna obviously saw Futa, and now he's going to run to go and get him and go rescue him. But that does lead into more conflict as the chapters go on, until he faces with Mukuro himself, and also to kind of save Hibari at the same time. So again, guys, do tell me in the comment section. I believe it was adapted into episodes 23 or 24. Please do correct me on that. Again, those who have read the series and watched the series before, prior to newcomers, do tell me on how you felt about this chapter. What were some things you were able to take away, some things that you didn't notice the first time, but you went back and reread it and took away from this chapter now that you were able to read it over again, probably for the second, third, or whatever, how many times you reread it. The links are in the description box, so you guys can go check that out. And I'm Kimmy-chan of Anime Legends, and I will see you guys later. Bye! With